All right, so we're going to try this again and we're going to see kind of what happens. So in this video, I'm going to look to try to give you guys a overview of kind of the more advanced functions, especially the functions on this sidebar over here on the right side. So a couple of things that we're going to go through are the site settings. I'll circle back to those because these are going to be much more of a detailed update. The first thing we'll look at is the max video. So this is a perfect example here where we have, a whole bunch of videos on the screen. Maybe it's a little bit overwhelming for us. I want to drop it down to 4 being the max. So I can go ahead and click that, and it's going to take a second to adjust the screen size here, but it's going to update the screen size so we can be able to focus specifically on the 4 streams. Maybe I want to limit it to 6. I can go to 6 and I can see those. It'll show up there. The great thing about this is, if I only ever want to limit to 6, I can have these 6 running, but then maybe I decide, I don't really want to see this stream. Maybe it's one that's somewhere else or not at Disney, and it'll always bring in the next available stream. That's the same thing with if there's any upcoming streams. So if I hide enough here, and it may take a minute, let's see. Yeah, so if you see there, I hid that one there. We got down to where now we're showing the upcoming streams, but again, it's limiting it to only ever showing a maximum of 6. Now, if there's less than 6, it will decrease down in size. But let's go back to our default, and we'll show that there. The next item that we'll take a look at is the hub page. So the hub page is just a great place to be able to see specifically the upcoming streams or things that are live, kind of plan out your day. You can see kind of list view is going to show, the current ones that are live at the top with view counts, and then it's going to show a huge long list of data that you have that actually goes all the way to 2026, thanks to Pete down here. But the big one I like here is the weekly view. It really is kind of a schedule view that you can see. So you could plan out your week. You could go, okay, on Wednesday night, who's going to be live? So you can come here and see, on Wednesday, we've got Bouncing Journey and Amusement Park Pirates. We got Score Jason. We got Living in Diz. We've got a Vacationeers podcast. We got Theme Park Casual. We got a whole lot of stuff out. So you can plan out kind of your week. Now, not all the streamers plan their streams in advance. So if they're not scheduled on YouTube, they're not going to show up on here. So sometimes you may see some gaps due to that, but it is helpful to be able to kind of see and plan out some of your week from there. So then we have a button here that's just streamers and network. This is a very simple screen. All it's going to show is all the channels that could possibly show up here on the multi-view, and that we're polling for information data. You can see the ones highlighted in red are the ones that are currently live, and you can see this is actually a huge list that comes from the bottom. I'm currently continuing to update it. This one's actually not even up to date as it is currently, but you can very quickly see kind of who's currently live within the park. So you could go directly to their channel if you wanted to, but it gives you kind of a big comprehensive list. We then have this Force Live button. What this actually does, and you can see a good example of here because I navigated away and I've kind of changed the layout, you can see a lot of these streams are behind a little bit time-wise. So if I want to force them all to the current live state, I can click that. And what it's going to do is it's going to work to try to get them as close to live as possible. So you can see, this one down here that's Swish Willie and Disney didn't get all the way live, but it got pretty close. So it tries to get us back to a current live state. We then have a simple about button that just gives a little bit of information about Disney streams. And then the last button here is the donate button. This just gives you kind of a quick place to go to actually navigate to the individual creators. So you go directly to their video and then you can donate there. All right, so now let's jump into the, I guess, advanced settings or the site settings that we have here. There's a lot that we'll go through. So the first one here allows you to toggle displaying upcoming channels on and off. So if I toggle that display upcoming off, you can see when it refreshed the layout, I'm no longer showing upcoming channels. So the only thing that will show on the display is currently live channels. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect that. It does take a moment to come into effect. And I'm thinking I've got an issue there because it did that earlier where it took me 2 times to get it to come back. You have that there. You then have display video borders. This was actually a request from one of the users. So it'll show these kind of borders on the videos, and you can see, anyone that's buffering or not playing is going to be in red. What's really nice about this is it will show any video you're currently listening to in green. So you can see here I unmuted Disney Magic and Mayhem. That one's green. I can come over if I switch to Jennifer Caruso. That one's going to be green. I can switch to Swishly and Disney. It's going to change her to green. Now it's buffering some, so I can go back. So it kind of gives you a visual as well as what's going on in the video. So I really like that one. I like the borders. We can display wait times or hide wait times. I know that shows down at the bottom of the screen. So if and it looks like I may have another bug there. No, there it went away. I'm just a little bit too fast off the draw for it. So it did hide the wait times. So if you want to maximize screen real estate, you're not interested in the wait times, you can hide the wait times. You can bring the wait times back. Again, I'm currently recording with this computer as well, and my computer is not the best. Right, so then we can also enable always display view count, so you can actually see, and let me see here. So if you hover over, you can see the view counts currently. This is just a periodic update, so it's not always going to catch it right away. But if we want to see that and make that more of a permanent, we can just click that always view count, and you can now see that up at the top right of all of the windows without having to hover over them. There is an option to opt out of the like, subscribe reminders. What those are, and I'll probably show those in a separate video, but it's just a kind of nag that comes up if you haven't liked the video that just reminds you to. This next one is the force live interval. Essentially what this does is it automatically and artificially clicks this force streams live button. So very similar to my case where I'm kind of constantly behind because my internet connection right now is poor. I might want to set this low so that and we'll just do it for 10 seconds just as a test. So you can see, Switch Willie and Disney, I'm behind on. I'm going to be behind on Music and Mayhem. I'm kind of just going to go behind on these, and after 10 seconds, it's going to automatically push those to live. So I didn't click anything. It just automatically moved those to live, and it'll then do that every 10 seconds. I generally recommend keeping that on about 2 minutes as the timer. That just makes sure that, if you switch tabs, navigate away, and one gets behind, it's going to get updated. We then have the ability to adjust the chat window size. So I'll open it up here, and it just depends on your monitor what's going to be best for you. The default is 220 pixels. If maybe I want it to be a little bit larger, I can update it to 300. And you can see it'll take, again, a second here to readjust. And we can see it's a little bit wider here that we have. Now, another item we have is the position. So maybe you're kind of a weird right-brained, left-brained person. You want it on the left side. You can adjust this. It'll be on the left side. Depending on if you have a screen monitor that'll support it, you can even make it on the bottom. I have found that you can't really see anything on the bottom. And then the final option here is the pop out. So if you have kind of pop out set, essentially you're not going to see the chat at all. What's going to happen is you're going to click on the button. It's actually going to open it as a pop out window instead of opening it embedded in the web page. This is a great option for moderators because the moderator functions do not work within the embedded chat. So I'll kind of show that in another video as well. So then we also have, and the final thing we have here kind of in these kind of toggle sections is we have the ability, and again, this is going to be based on your screen resolution, to scale the chat window. So if you want it to be, the font to be a little bit larger, you can change it to scale to 1. You can see it's going to be a little bit larger here. Maybe you've got some weird resolution monitor and my eyes won't accept this, but you want to make it scaled really small. I can't read that. You can make that and have that option to do that there. One of the other items in here, and kind of a couple of the buttons we'll go through, let me just get that back to a readable level. You can display all hidden streams. Throughout the testing here, I've hidden a couple. If accidentally I hit one and I want to get it back, I can always hit display all hidden streams. What this is going to do is just going to bring anything back. So even if I had hidden this earlier, I hit Resort TV 1, it brought them right back into the display. I hit Janelle, it brought her right back into the display. Then we have this one that we're going to call experimental because it's not currently working, but you can actually toggle all the chats at once. So if you wanted to open all the chat windows, you can click this button. Likewise, if you want to close them all, you can click that button. Right now, if I click it, it's going to close everything. And then if I click it again right now, it's not going to work. It should work before too long. It's going to give me frowny face, but I will get that fixed